Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about transforming both exponential and logarithmic functions. So these transformations are going to work exactly the same as transformations on every other function that we have studied. So for exponential transformations, our parent function, if you recall from our first lesson of this chapter, is f of x is equal to b raised to the x power. So x is actually an exponent. So what that means is that whenever we do transformations that are horizontal transformations, remember that those occur inside with x, and normally x is something in parentheses, but this time inside with x means in the exponent. So if you see something besides just an x in the exponent, that means we have been transformed. I'm not going to take the time to go through each of these examples with you, but just know that these work exactly the same as every other function that we have transformed in the past. We have horizontal and vertical translations, reflections over the x or y axis that are done with negative signs either outside or inside with x, horizontal stretches and shrinks, vertical stretches and shrinks, and all of these things work the exact same way. So let's jump right into a couple of examples. On these examples, I want to describe the transformation and then talk about my asymptote, domain, and range, because now we may be changing that asymptote. We can't ever change domain, but if the asymptote changes, the range changes as well. So let's take a look at our first one. And we are starting with f of x is equal to 1/2 raised to the x power. So I want to identify in g of x anything that is different from that. And I see that the only thing that is different is we've tacked on a -4 at the end. Well, remember, anytime we tack a number on to the very end of a function, positive moves us up, negative moves us down. So this -4 moves me down by 4. That means that my asymptote, which was at y equals 0 for the original function, has shifted down by 4. So my asymptote is now at y equals -4. There is not any way to change the domain. Domain is always going to be all real numbers, but my range does change because if you were to look at a graph of this, it has moved down by 4, which means that y is now going to be greater than or equal to the -4. Let's try another one. So this time we're going to start with our natural base exponent function, e of x, and I want to notice what has changed. The first thing I see that's different is I have a +3 right up there in the exponent with x. Remember that anytime that you have something besides just an x in the exponent, that is something horizontal going on. Adding 3 at the end after x means that we are moving to the left. Remember, we've got to think opposite here. So something with a plus sign on it after x is going to move me to the left by 3. And then the other thing I see is a +2 tacked on here at the end. And so that is going to move me up by 2. Now that up by 2 is going to affect my asymptote, because remember, my asymptote was at y equals 0 for my original function. But if I shift the entire graph up by 2, my asymptote is now at y equals 2. Domain, still all real numbers. Nothing we can do to change that. But my range, based upon an asymptote at a y value of 2, my range doesn't start until I get to right past that asymptote, so y is greater than 2.